just disappears, right?
Just like point to it.
Yeah. So what I was explaining is the house batteries are the heart of the charging system, basically. And so you have various charging parameters. You have the alternator from the vehicle, you have a generator that's in the rear of the vehicle, and you have the power cord, which you can plug into a house. The first charging source is usually the alternator, because when you're driving the vehicle, the power will come from the alternator to the vehicle battery, and then through this isolator into the house battery. So it charges everything all at the same time. This isolator solenoid will disconnect itself when the engine is not running, or when the voltage is low enough where there's no charge being put in the system, and it disconnects these two batteries, and it separates them so that if you run your house batteries dead and or your vehicle battery dead, you still have one or the other that has power, so you can connect them together and or whatever it takes to get the vehicle running, and or vice versa, just start the generator. Like the generator starts from the house batteries, so to start the generator I've had to connect this together to get the vehicle battery to run through to start the generator. So, and there's a switch inside that you can just hold down and connect it all together if you need to. So with that said, you got this power converter charger. So when you plug your power cord in, this is simultaneous power cord goes into here also, but it was going to be too confusing to draw that. But when you're plugged into a power source via house, this power converter actually charges the house batteries, and that voltage is increased enough to where it actually goes through a solenoid and charges the vehicle battery also. So all that reconnects back together so the vehicle battery stays charged as well when you're actually plugged into a house, if you will. So, which is really cool. So that the batteries stay topped off all the time.
This is plugged into
just an outlet.
Someone else's house.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep. So that's your exterior, basically.
Got it.
Going outside the vehicle, plugged into an RV, RV
Right,
spot
right.
or whatever it is. So, with that said, the power source, you have to actually create the 120 volts on the inside. You have the power cord that you can plug into your house, and that power goes into this auto transfer switch into the circuit breaker panel, just like what a house has, and then out to your plug-ins and your inside, so you can plug in whatever you want. Alternatively, you have a power inverter, which we need to fix.
Yeah.
And what that does is it pulls power from your house battery, converts the 12.5 volts over to 120 volts, and then it goes into the auto transfer switch, and then back out to the breaker panel and into the 120 volts. And the reason why you have to have this is that you cannot have an output of two sources into this panel at the same time. So if you had your power cord plugged in as well as your inverter on, two sources coming into this would fry it.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to have this switch in there to do that. What you never want to do is think that you're going to want to charge your basically your house battery. Like this is 120 volt, basically these right here. So you never want to think that you can take this power inverter, plug in your power cord to the power inverter and charge your batteries, because this is taking power to convert the power, and then if you plug something in, it's going to take more power, so it's just going to be more of a drastic drain. So you can never charge your house batteries from your power inverter. That's just the opposite. This is taking power away from the house batteries. That doesn't make sense at all. Because a lot of people think that you can actually take your power inverter, since it's producing the 120 volts, and charge your house batteries by plugging in your power
But you're
cord.
using the house battery to charge the house battery,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. So, solar panels are totally separate. They just go from solar panels to the controller, which is on the inside of the vehicle, and then into the house battery. And so all these, and charging 12 volts into the house battery, that can come in from different sources. So you can have your power cord plugged in, you can have your alternator, your engine running, you can have your solar running all at the same time. So you can have three sources of 12 volt into the batteries at the same time. So you don't have to. So there's nothing that switches back and forth between all that.
But nothing is enough to get that 120 volt outlet requirement, except for the inverter, right?
Except for the inverter and the generator.
Or if you're yeah. Okay.
So yeah, hopefully that makes sense a bit.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
A lot more than I thought I was capable of
Okay.
understanding. So that's well done, sir.
Cool.
All right, are we done with explaining this part?
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to start? Like, do you want to do functionalities or what's?
I don't know what makes the most sense, but I'll leave that to your expertise.
Well, since we're going to look at the electronics, I guess we can look at the interior electronics. I can show you where those parts are. Put that stuff right. Here. So the electronics are, there's a lot of the electronics are down here. This is your breaker panel right here. So this is where your controls for your air conditioner, the main breaker and all the other ones, just like a house would have, for all the microwave and your water heater and outlets and whatnot. So you have that. So this is your 120 volt system. These are your 12 volt fuses. So it combines. The panel actually has 12 volts as well as 120 volt. So your 12 volts are basically like your interior lamps, your fridge, your lamps, what used to be your TV VCR doesn't exist anymore. Furnace, those are all 12 volt operation. Everything that you can run on the vehicle without being plugged in. So if you're, so just think of that. If the furnace runs without being plugged in, that's a 12 volt system.
Okay.
Right. So, and then there's some extra fuses here. So if you do blow a fuse, there's some extra fuses for that. Now if you trip a breaker, it's just a matter of flipping the breaker on that back up. So
What would trip a breaker?
just overload. Like sometimes your RV parks may have a surge or something like that. So some people that are really into RV parking basically have a surge protector that they plug in.
Right.
That goes in between their RV and
Yeah,
the
I've seen
RV
that.
park. So yeah.
You guys didn't stop at a lot of RV
Yeah,
parks.
we did, but we never had any issues at all. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that
Okay.
at all. So so with that said, underneath the seat you have kind of hard to gain access or to see, but here's the charger converter. So this is a smart charger. So what this does is it alters the ebbs and flows the voltage into the batteries to keep the batteries at the longest life possible. It decalcifies the batteries is what it does. So it will raise the voltage up to 14 volts and then slowly bring it down and just ebb and flow the voltage of the battery to make sure they last a long time.
Okay.
So that's that. And note back here is the auto transfer switch, which is really hard to see and it's really hard to gain access to. It's a pain in the butt to put in there. And that's where the inverter and the extra connections go into, and that's what disperses the 120 volts into the breaker.
Is it the yellow thing or
No,
what?
this dark, really dark. Clear back here. This, yeah, so where this plug is plugged into right here, and this right here. So, yeah,
The this like black box thing?
yeah, the black box, not this,
Oh
but
wait,
the word.
let me focus.
It's kind of a dark blue box, I guess.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I see it now.
Yeah. So that's your auto transfer switch right there.
Okay.
If anything ever goes wrong with it. With that said, since we're under here, well, this is it. So the generator is actually on the outside of the vehicle, but this is the box that protects. So the generator's underneath here, basically. And then this, nothing to do with electronics, but this is a conversion, basically for the sewer hose, so you can put a longer sewer hose in the system. So you can store a longer one, so it's easier to dump. So I'll show you that, because it used to only come with a 10-foot long sewer hose, but this is like a 30-footer now.
Oh, cool.
So it's a conversion basically to put a longer one in. And then this is your water heater right here. So the water heater itself does not operate on propane at all. So it is only, there's two sources to actually heat the water. The first source is 120 volts, and that's only when you're plugged into an outlet or the generator is running, and or the inverter, I guess, and you can run it off the inverter. So to function that, it's right here. So to function the 120 volt, that's this switch right there to turn on the water heater, and that's the only reason why you'd want to do that is if you're parked for a prolonged period of time, where you're not driving around, because this is actually a can't remember exactly what it's called right now, but the water is actually heated by the antifreeze from the engine. So the antifreeze comes back from the engine, it goes through the water heater and back up to the engine. So as you drive the vehicle, it heats the water. So if you're driving for an hour plus, then you're gonna have like super hot water, and it does maintain heat for about 2 to 3 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So an hour plus every 2 to 3 days, and you don't need to touch that.
Yeah. For most time, you don't need to touch it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's great.
yeah. Yeah, so when I first started using this rig, I always thought I had to have this on to get hot water no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's only plugged in there. And the hot water, if you're using the hot water, it's a 4-gallon tank. So if you're parked and you use 4 gallons of water, it's not going to be hot anymore. It's just that it maintains that heat of that water. So if you use a little bit here and there, it'll maintain the heat. Yeah. So it won't continually deheat the water. Yeah. Forever. So the next thing, I guess running, going forward, this is a rear heater used while driving the vehicle. So when you're actually driving the vehicle, it has, since the vehicle's so big, it needed some sort of heat source back here for passengers or to heat the interior up a little bit better. So what this is, the antifreeze from the engine, again, goes through there, through here, and into the water heater, back through this, and back up front. And to control that, it's turned off right now. And this is a flow knob basically, so that's high flow, back to no flow. And so basically, you have to, in order to actually use it, you have to kind of plan ahead, and like I want like maybe half flow through it, so where it heats that coil up right here. And then there's a switch up front with a fan, and you can turn the fan on and off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really handy when it's really cold outside.
Yeah, I bet.
To just have that on, even cranked up, and then it heats up the back here, and you don't have to use the front heater as much to really try to get the heat going in here a lot. So you just pay attention to that, and but I just leave it turned off a lot of the times, So
Yeah.
if you're driving along and it heats up during the day and you forget, then you'll roast yourself out of here. So, yeah. This is your furnace, and it's a pretty loud furnace. So what we wanted to do is sleep with a little bit cooler weather because it'll wake you up. So the first time when you sleep with the furnace and it comes on, it's like a jet engine in the side. So, I can show you. So it's pretty loud, right? With normal thermostat, it's just a simple.
It's like white noise.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
So the thermostat's a very simple thermostat. It gives you interior temperature, as well as your desired temperature that you want, and then the furnace automatically comes on and off based on the temperature. What you want to do when you're parked fully, you want to click this to where it actually clicks all the way over to off. If you leave it, let's say right there at 50, it's going to try to keep the interior at 50 and continue to use the furnace, but you need to turn it all the way off to disconnect the furnace if you don't want it to come on at all. And it has to cool down, so basically when it comes on, it heats up, and then it has to cool down for a bit, then it shuts itself off after it cools down. So.
And the furnace is operating from the house battery?
Correct, yeah. The house batteries. And if it's really cold, it's like the house batteries can probably run the furnace for 2 to 3 days, no problem, but if you have to use the furnace a lot, you're going to need to charge the batteries every couple days probably.
Need to be driving.
Yeah.
Can we turn it off so we can hear you again?
It's going to turn off.
Okay. So just talk a little louder in case it doesn't pick it up.
Okay. I can't talk louder. I'll wait for.
Oh, your voice is messed up. Okay. Yeah.
We'll just wait for a second.
So it's. Why doesn't it turn off right away?
Because when you heat up, so basically it's propane and it heats an element, and if you turn it off if the furnace actually turned off instantly, it would warp the element or warp the heat box in there. So the furnace actually, the fan turns on, and the flame comes on, it heats everything up, and then when it turns itself off, the flame turns off, and then the fan continues to run to cool down the actual metal and all the metal in there, and then shuts itself down, the fan off after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't ruin itself. If it warps, then it's going to be good in the long run.
Alright.
Yeah.
So would you say that like 2 to 3 days is like the default sort of 1 hour that you need to be moving to keep everything sort of
Charged up?
Yeah, regularly charged. Or it just depends how much you're using.
Depends on if it's warm outside and it's sunny.
Yeah.
The solar panels will take care of almost everything you need to do. So you can park for a couple weeks if it's 2 or 3 weeks if the solar panels are exposed to sun and it's warm outside and you're not running the furnace. You're not running the lights very much if it's summertime.
Yeah.
Then it's light out till 9 or 10 at night. There's a lot of parameters with that.
Yeah.
Wintertime, like traveling in the wintertime. Yeah, I'd say every 2 days. That's like, it's running the furnace a lot and lights a lot because it's really dark outside.
Yeah.
And inverters, if you're running the inverter a lot, once that's working, then, that'll use up some power, so. Yeah.
Okay.
So with that said, there's this gauge over here. So this is your, basically this is a factory panel that the vehicle comes with. With that said, you have a gray tank, a black tank, fresh tank, battery condition, and propane gas levels basically. The gray and black tank, there's sensors on the tanks that never work, and it's like that in every RV. Basically, these systems are really faulty. Basically, where they get clouded up with material, and then it thinks it has more. So these two tanks are actually empty, super empty. I just emptied them, and there's nothing in them right now. So you can never.
They're nearly full.
Yeah, so you can never rely on those. Yeah.
So it's like.
2/3 empty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. I was looking at the bottom part. And I was,
Yeah. So the tank level section is on top, which is your freshwater, black and gray tank. And then battery condition. This is a pretty good indicator, you know. So it'll battery levels recharge low, very good. So you can always hit that and see that. But usually, what you want to do is have to actually have a good sense of how good the condition of the battery is. You need to have a load coming off a battery too. So right now there's nothing coming off there. If you have the furnace on, it'll give you a better indicator of what the condition of the battery is because there's a load coming from the battery.
So it's not
being drawn.
used, so
Yeah. So, and then the LP gas, you know, it's a good, you know, just basic indicator of how full the LP is. So I filled it up right before I left and used the furnace for a few days. And
Yeah.
It's a 5-gallon tank, but it seems to last a long time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
why is it LP? L.
Liquid petroleum gas.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's, I think that's what it stands for. Yeah. So
That's about right.
propane. Yeah. So.
So how do you get a sense for the black and gray tanks, seeing as how sensors don't work?
Yeah. Usually, you know, your black and gray tanks are a little bit larger than your freshwater tank. So once your freshwater tank gets almost empty, then you know that your black and gray tanks are probably about full too. And you can always look in your toilet. So there's with the water pump turned off, you can actually I can show you the toilet. And you can actually look inside because this goes straight down into the tank right here. So with that said, you can open this up and you can just without the water pump on, and you can just look, you know, straight down in there.
Go have a look.
Which is like
All right, everybody.
there's a silk film because I put there it is. So there's your tank right there.
So you can see. Oh.
Right.
Yeah, they probably can't see, but
Right.
you can see the water. You can see
Yeah.
how high it is.
And it'll go clear up to that where the tube is right there, so you can fill it up to here. You know. So, yeah. So it can get really full if you want it to, and if that gets really full, then the sink will just won't drain anymore. Just whoop. Right.
Okay.
So then you need to empty it. So, yeah. That's only happened a couple times, but like I say, you don't really have enough water in the vehicle to actually fill both tanks.
Right.
So this capacity has a lot more, and I can't remember what the capacity of the black tank is, but it's more because you're going to put refuse in it. You know, you're by using the bathroom as well as the water to wash the stuff out.
Right.
So yeah. So as long as you're just like fresh water's out, and then you got to empty and fill at the same time, and then you should be good to go. So,
Got it.
yeah, unless there's something else that you're doing to put a lot of liquids into the tanks, but yeah. I guess that's. I think that's it. I guess we can show you the bathroom really fast. So this is a shelf, so you drop the shelf down, you know, just a little storage unit, then your sink. So your sink, so, you know, if you're really particular of having hot water, you're gonna waste a lot of water to get hot water, basically, because you got to go from the line up to here. So a lot of times it's just a little trickle of water and wash your hands, and if you're doing it 3 or 4 times, like washing dishes, about halfway through the dishes, you will get hot water, and that'll be nice.
So you're saying it takes a while to.
Yeah, it's gonna waste a lot of water to get hot
If
water
you're
for
sitting there
every.
Waiting for it to get hot.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you start using it.
Yeah. So basically, just use the water very sparingly. I mean, it's such a minimal amount of water. You just want to use a trickle amount of water. You know, turn it on a little bit, wash your hands, and then turn it on and rinse off. And
Okay, so how does the hot water? Oh, you have to turn something on. Do you?
No, so it's already warm right now. You just have to turn the water pump on. So you know, turn the water pump on right here. So this is your switch for the water pump off and then on, right there.
Okay.
So you want to turn that on, and that pressurizes the system, and then you're ready to use whatever. And so that pressurizes all the water systems, so the hot water and cold water at the same time.
So you have to turn this on before you do any water?
Yep. Yeah, you won't get any water out if you don't. So with that, like if I turn that off, this will have a little bit of pressure, but now there's nothing, right? But if you have, it's gonna pressurize the system now, so it'll just come on, it'll go on and off to pressure, keep the system pressurized. So.
And the hot water, like when you use the hot water, does that signal it to start heating up the water?
Nope.
It just takes a while. Why does it take a while then?
Because the hot water is based right there, and then it goes from tubes under there, and then over to the
So it
sink.
just takes a while to get.
I mean, it's still warm, kind of in the tubes, but it just takes a little bit of use. So if you're washing dishes, the initial washing, you're gonna have, a little bit of cold water, or you can heat up just a little water on the stove. Like if you're gonna wash dishes and you want hot water, heat a little bit up on the stove so you don't waste a lot of water trying to get hot water.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I say, you learn to be really efficient. It's just the nature of it, where you just a little trickle of water, instead of running a full blast thing, you just, like I say, you just have something like that going to rinse dishes, and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you use this, so that's that button. So when you use the water here, it's like it fills up and then you just push it back and the water goes back there. Is that how that? Because there's no drain, right?
Yep. So,
okay.
Yeah, there's a drain on the back, so basically it goes in that channel.
So then it tips down.
Yep. So then you just do one at a time.
Oh, so, like this.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can.
There's a snap that holds it closed on the right side. Yeah, it takes two hands actually.
Oh, what are you supposed to do with it?
There's a snap.
Oh, this thing. There's a snap. Okay.
Like a ducker's.
And
then the shelf tips up and it just.
And then the shelf.
Yeah.
And that. What do you do with that?
Just push it a little bit harder.
Push it harder.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
And you can also flip it, hold the latch up a little bit, and it's a little bit easier when you close it. So I always like to do that.
Oh,
there you go.
Trying to look at it through my camera.
Yep.
And your teepee, gorgeous. And your towel thingy.
Yep.
Oh my god, and a second one, just like a hotel.
Yeah. A little tidbit with the toilet paper and the paper towels. This will help you guys out. When you put a new roll on, squeeze it and crease it, and then put the toilet paper like this way so it doesn't like just roll down and get on everything else. You crease the roll, then it doesn't unroll itself because it's ovalized.
Ah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
When you're rolling down the road.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Okay.
Your shower.
Yeah.
So let's show you the shower system here. So first off, take this panel and you just set this off to the side.
Now
okay.
it's making sense
Yeah.
to me.
A little bit dirty down there. You pull this open.
Wow. What's the hooks to pull it up here?
Yeah. So,
And it just.
so these are just handles. So these are buttons. So
okay.
Buttons to push and pull open.
Okay.
Like that, and then you have your shower in here.
Wow.
And it's a wet shower, so you don't need.
So everything goes.
Yeah. So originally it came with like this little curtain thing to put right here, so you can protect your toilet paper and stuff. So basically, pull the toilet paper out.
Okay.
And then everything could get wet in there. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So yeah. And when you're showering, there's a shower drain button. Flip that on because the black tank is, the pan is lower than the black tank, so it pumps the water into the black tank. So you need to turn that on. It'll just fill the basin up down there. But if you fill the basin, you just got to turn the switch on and it'll suck all the water out. And put
So you do that before or
during or after?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is that drain?
That's right behind this chemical right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what this is a deodorizer. So your drain is right there. And so you just flip it on and it sucks the water out.
Okay.
So this is you want to get there's like probably two more treatments in here. When you dump your tanks, dump about a capful or 1 to 2 capfuls in your black tank, and this helps keep the odors down.
So after you dump it, then put it into the tank, and you do that through the drain or
just through the toilet right here.
through the toilet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You just open the toilet lid and dump a little bit in there and drop it in there. So it'll help digest the actual material in there as well as keep the odors down. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's your favorite one?
That doesn't matter. I mean, it's just whatever an RV store has.
Yeah.
Or, Walmart has these things, and once you start going everywhere, and like even like truck stops will have this stuff and whatnot. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I think I've seen also people use like natural versions, which I think are enzymes or something.
Yeah. So this is a biodegradable one. So But there are more natural ones out there, so.
Either way, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I see there are 2 pedals on the toilet.
Oh, yeah. So 2 pedals on the toilet. What that is the first one. This one operates both. So this pushes down and it actually functions the flush as well as, so it opens the flap as
And
well
flushes.
as water.
Uh-huh.
This one's just water.
The little one.
So yeah, so if you want to put water into the bowl, you know,
That's
yeah, so you just use that one to do that.
Alright.
But if you need to
that's
flush,
the little tiny one.
then you
And
dump the
then-
whole thing and it
Got
flushes both. So,
Okay.
Holy shit.
yeah. Yeah. And the toilet does have a very small freshwater leak on the back that it's always had, and I never worried about it. So basically, if you leave the RV for a few hours, just turn off the water pump so it doesn't because you'll have a little bit of water down there in the drain because it'll just drain down there. I was always afraid that was gonna need a whole new toilet, so just for a small leak. So I was like, yeah, I'm just not gonna worry about that. So yeah, I think it's just one of the something underneath in the inside. So yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how much the toilets are. I never looked into it. So
Yeah.
it's never a big deal to me. So. Let's see. I'll show you some cool mod. I don't know. I don't
So-
think I mentioned the modification that. Well, there's never quite a bit of stuff. But
It just pushes back. You don't have to press anything, or you have to press the.
when you push it back, it'll latch itself.
Okay.
So, yeah, so these things pop out and they'll latch themselves into place.
Okay.
Yeah. So right here, so I don't know, this is a modification. Usually your Rialtas, when you come in, that floor height goes all the way to here. And so you have a little more headroom right here, but this is basically an extra storage spot that we built.
Oh, sweet.
You know,
Oh, cool.
So we used it for as laundry, so laundry hamper. That's what we used that for.
Okay.
But you can do whatever you want. So it actually added quite a bit of little storage.
Yeah, I see. So the step started here.
Right. So this just
Right.
came down, and that was originally how far it was.
Waste of space.
Waste of space. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right. What else? Lots of stuff.
It's the storage here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you'll lose. Basically, the storage.
If you pull out of the chair.
Yeah. So if to pull out the chair, you have 2 bolts here, and then 2 matching bolts in the front of the chair, and that's it. And
Okay.
then you can just remove the whole chair
Okay.
out of here, and then the seat belt. Then you can remove the seat belt if you want to after that.
How does it fold down in case we don't change it for a while?
So, you can. So usually what you want to do before you fold it down, since it's going to be laying flat, is pull your headrest off. You just set that off the side. Then you got the lever right here. You just pick that up, and then you just pick this stuff like that. That falls down like that.
Okay.
So, like I say, what we used it for is a dog bed. We covered
Yeah.
it for
Yeah.
dog bed, so
Just
I
be-
really liked it. So.
A little couch for now.
So, yeah, but if you leave the headrest on, then it's,
Yeah.
it's in the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then usually if I pick this up, it has 3 spots that it can actually latch into
Oh,
to
okay.
create different backrest angles. Usually you put it in the middle or the upper one. The one that's pretty lean back, pretty far. So
Cool.
just make sure that's latched on there.
It's easy enough.
Cool. Anything we need to know about?
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of stuff to do.
Yep.
but-
So fridge, microwave, all that stuff. So we can do the fridge next. So the fridge is a marine fridge. It's made for a boat. And the reason why we put that in there is because the three-way fridge is very problematic in here. Like I rebuilt the fridge and it still didn't work very well. And you had to have the vehicle almost perfectly level for it to work because it's a chemical reaction that has to go through it. And it's really super energy efficient, but it's a chemical reaction that makes the system work to cool down the fridge. So what we did, since we take this thing, mountain bike and park on side slopes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
this marine fridge actually will work on a 30-degree slope. So no matter which direction it's on, and it operates like a normal fridge. So it has a compressor and Freon, and it's a normal house fridge, except it runs off of 12 volt system, so it's directly connected to the 12-volt batteries. And but it's a very energy efficient fridge. When the voltage is low, like if there's no charge being put into the batteries, like at a certain level, the batteries stay at like 12.7 volts or under when there's no charge put into it. So the fridge actually goes into a energy conservation mode, where it actually will not freeze. Excuse me. The voice is going away. So, what it does is it goes to energy conservation mode, and it won't super freeze this plate under here. So underneath this freezer, if you can see, there's a actual like an ice tray plate right here. So it won't actually get cold enough to actually freeze that. But when you're driving the vehicle or plugged in, then the voltage is high enough where it actually kicks into the upper, to the least, it's not energy efficient at that point, but it's using a lot of power, and it's freezing that plate. And so that when you're parked, that plate keeps the fridge cold for a lot longer, then it doesn't use as much power when you're parked, because it doesn't need to keep going as much because you have the ice tray. It's just frozen.
So would you say it's about like 2 to 3 days idle that it'll stay frozen?
No, so I'd say it takes about probably 4 or 5 hours to freeze that tray. So if you're driving long distance or plugged in overnight, with the fridge turned on, it'll turn into actually crank this up, and I'll turn it on the manual and see if it'll actually kick on. What it'll do is when there's enough voltage in the system, like from a charge, like the vehicle, like the battery, getting a charge from somewhere, either the solar panels are producing a lot of voltage into it, or the house, or you're driving the vehicle, then it'll recognize that it's got a lot of voltage, so it's gonna freeze that plate. It's gonna use a lot of power and basically freeze that plate in there. And once it freezes that plate, then it goes into normal mode at that point. And when you're parked, like overnight, and there's no charge put into the batteries at all, that plate will actually help keep the fridge really cold, so it doesn't have to run the compressor in the fridge. So that way it uses really minimal power. And so basically that's the highlight of the fridge is that it's a very energy efficient fridge. The most energy efficient 12-volt fridge you can get. So it doesn't use so much battery power. Yeah. So yeah. With that said, you got 2 switches up here. You have a manual temperature and a normal automatic. I always keep it on automatic because if you forget, you can have a manual temperature, and that's what this control knob does. You can control, how cold you want the fridge. If you want it really just really cold or not so cold, that's your manual temperature switch. But you have to, you're gonna go into this freeze mode. So basically, you're gonna draw a lot of power out of the battery. So I always keep it in auto mode, which eliminates the use of the knob to control the temperature, and it keeps the temperature. The battery went dead in this guy, but it's basically normal fridge temperature, whatever 37 to 42 degrees. So it really keeps that temperature around there, and and it maintains itself. So I always just left it in the auto mode, and that way when the power is input into the batteries, the fridge lights up and it super freezes itself. When the batteries don't have a charge, it cuts it back down to normal power. So same thing with the solar panels. And the solar panels have power coming into it. Batteries have a lot of voltage. This thing will freeze itself, and so yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So super awesome upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we wanted to take the microwave out, it's like these 4.
Yep. Just those 4 screws, and then you slide it out, and then this is plugged in with a normal house plug.
Okay,
cool.
cool.
It's almost like a normal house microwave.
Okay.
Except it's screwed in, and and then you can just remove it, and it sits on a shelf. So these screws only hold it into place.
Right.
And it's resting on a shelf, basically a built-in shelf.
So since it's plugged in, it would be running off the 120, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So so this would run off of your generator plugged into the house or the inverter. And that's why I put that really big inverter in, so they can just run but it'd only be a short burst. So that to actually run a microwave from those 2 house batteries through the inverter, it sucks a lot of power out of the system. And I'll show you the battery system so I can show you like how big the cords are, the wires. But yeah. Let me get it right here. Yeah. So what you have are house batteries, and then so you have wires coming in from the front of the vehicle, wires going out to the generator to start the generator, and to bring power back into here, well, into the converter, but and then you also have wires coming out of here to go to the inverter over here. So your inverter wires, like these electrical wires, this is an inverter wire, and this is an inverter wire right here. So they're super big, and that's so the flow, because it has to have so much flow like a river to get to that inverter, so that you don't burn things up. So if the wires are too small, they'll burn it up and burn the inverter up and whatnot. Yeah, and then those two batteries, they're connected together, so they're both 6 volt battery and a 6 volt battery, basically, and connected together in a way to make it a 12 volt system. So pretty sure these are. No, I take that back. These are actually 12 volts. So these two are 12 volts. So they're still connected together to make a higher amperage system. So inverter has a special fuse. So this is a fuse for the inverter. And I wrote down the steps to actually remove the inverter. But after I wrote it down, initially I was like, well, you just need to take this off. You know, this is your positive cable, but you have to be really careful because you don't want to cross a wrench onto metal when you're taking that off. And I was like, well, it'd probably be better if you remove the negative with a pair of pliers. Like undo this and take this negative one off, then you don't have to worry about crossing over anything. Then you can use that and not have to have a fault, and burn something up or whatever. So definitely need to remove that first, and then this first here before you take the inverter out. And I'll show you where the inverter is here. And this is the solenoid that connects the batteries together when there's engines running, and disconnects the batteries, like these batteries from the vehicle battery when the engine is not running. So that's what that is. Yep. And then these are the plates you just needed to pop off, and they just kind of pop off here. And that way you can check the water level. And there, so that's what you do.
Okay.
And so you look down in there and just make sure that it doesn't have to be flowing out of the top, but you just need to make sure you can see water, and if you see plates like sticking up, then that's really bad. So that's just the maintenance. It's just distilled water, so you just dump some distilled water in them and put the caps back on.
Is it in all 4 of the plates you put them in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Any questions about this system down here at all?
I don't think we know enough to ask any questions
All
at
right.
this point.
All right. So I always keep this locked up. So this is a fire. If the batteries did light on fire, this keeps the fire away from the interior of the vehicle. So that's why that's a very secure system there. The power inverter is down here underneath this drawer. So down here is the inverter, and to really get to it well, pull the microwave out, and this shelf ends right about here. So you can go through the microwave hole, and you can get to the wires in the back, and then remove this vent, and then you can get to the stuff in here, and it's mounted with like 4 screws to the floor.
So take the microwave out, take the vent out.
Yeah. And I've written all the steps to that, like chronological, basically,
Okay.
on what to do with that and how to. And I take a lot of pictures too. When you do this, I was gonna offer to take it out, but I don't think that's a good idea, because I think who's ever gonna take it out needs to put it back in, right? So you get it right. But just take a lot of pictures of it. The biggest, I guess the most pain in the butt part is the back, where those 2 big, power cables coming in the back. There's 2 plastic covers that cover them up to protect them. And they have 2 Phillips screws on each one, I think. And it's kind of a pain in the butt because you're reaching through the microwave port, and so you just gotta pull those screws out, then you can take those wires off. And it's only a few connections to pull it out. This is probably like 20 or 25 pounds, inverter, so it's kind of heavy. So you just gotta wrestle it out. Yeah, but once that's fixed, that's gonna be it's really key.
Yeah.
Silent charging. So usually, if you're hanging out, I mean, it'll run for if you're not powering a lot of things, like it depends on how much draw you're pulling off of it. If you're only charging like laptops and stuff, you can run that pretty much all the time. You know, you just leave it on and run it. But if you're not going to use it, then you might, you know, just turn it off, you know, not have it on at all. When you're driving the vehicle, it's totally have it on, charge whatever you want to while you're running the vehicle. So just have that running and charge every electronic device you can, you know, basically while you're driving. What's that?
How you turn it on?
So that's up here. So this is another control panel, like over here. So two different ones. There's a solar control panel, and then the power control panel. Solar control panel. This is cool because it tells you an actual voltage of the batteries. So it's at 12.4 right now, which is like medium-high voltage, basically. There's a range, like once you get down to 12.1, that's pretty low. And 12.7 is a pretty standard, like flat rate, basically, of a charged battery. So it's right in the middle, you know, basically right now if I'm sitting overnight and stuff, and it'll go up, you know, here in a while. And then this gives you an amperage and watt, basically input of the solar panels. So as the sun will hit that, the amperage and watts will go up. There's 100 watts of solar panel up there, 100 or 120. You'll never see that high of a wattage because it'd have to be a super perfect direct sun, and then you just never see it. I think the highest I've ever seen is like 70 or something watts. So just keep that in mind. So never expect that. And then this is also a smart charger too, so it'll do the same thing that to the batteries. It'll ebb and flow the voltage of the how much voltage it puts in there based on how long it's been charging and how many days have passed, and it'll keep the batteries in good condition basically. So that takes care of itself basically. And those lights get kind of bright at night, so there's a temporary fix I never fix. So yeah, you might figure something out that looks better than that to cover those lights up because it's kind of bothersome.
Yeah.
Inverter. So to turn the inverter on and off, it's right here, so it's just on. Usually what this will do, since there's a fault, it's saying there's no voltage, right? But there's voltage. There's plenty of voltage. So basically what this would do is turn on, this would pop up into green. Well, let me turn it off again. So you have different levels, so it would pop up into the green right here, and then it'd be good to go at that point. But these are your fault codes, and basically, I'm not sure exactly what grid is, but yeah, probably don't ever need to know that. But basically what you need to know is battery voltage, it'll pop up into the green, and then the output is how much pull you're pulling off of the inverter. So if you're pulling 20% or 40 or 60%, you know, so once you're getting up into this range, you're using quite a bit of battery power, you know. So if you're really, I don't know what else, you know, but laptops you won't even probably phase it, you know. But a microwave popped it up into the 80-90% range, you know.
Spike it.
Yeah, it spikes that. So yeah, right now it's just.
But that's just a short burst, so that isn't a problem.
Yeah, short burst. I know you used it for 1 to 2 minutes stints.
Yeah.
You know, so it was never to cook some meals or anything. Heat of water, heat some leftovers.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. Yeah, but that's easy.
So that UVP is a fault code.
Yeah, under voltage protection is what that is. So over volt protection, under volt protection, over temperature protection, and overload protection. So overload.
Can you do them again one more time?
Okay. So over voltage protection would be if the volts are like the input volts are above like 14 to 15 volts, able to shut itself down so that it doesn't ruin itself. Under volt protection, basically, since it's registering at basically no voltage, under 10 volts. It shut itself down so it doesn't ruin itself as well as ruin the batteries in the vehicle. Over temperature protection, so if you're using the inverter a lot and you're up in this kind of middle range up here and it's really hot outside, there's not enough ventilation, and the inverter becomes really hot, it'll shut itself down so it doesn't ruin itself. And then overload protection is if you're using the inverter, and let's say the microwave, and you're using it for 5 minutes and it's just really cranking it out, then it'll protect itself if it's becoming too much of a load on it, from temperature or whatever it is. So, and these are just fault codes, so you know what's going on. So if the inverter shuts down, you can look at it and go, why did my inverter shut down? Well, it's because there's not enough voltage for it. But right now that's just a fault. It's false. There is voltage. So yeah. Which we got to figure that out. So,
Yeah.
So that right here, this is a 12 volt port for you know, whatever, charging cell phones or whatever like that. So this is a factory panel right here I just left in there because it's a big hole. So this does nothing, this does nothing. But I did add this. This is not a video output. This is for some LED lights outside under the awning. They're cool. Some of them have been burned out now, I guess.
Oh, I see them.
Right.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it's for hanging out at night.
Cool.
It dims them and stuff, so you crank it. So basically, off, and it's really low and then high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool dog.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's pretty cool because the other porch light's very dim. You know, it's just a small little bulb, and that really provides quite a bit of light. And there's a lot of those that burn out now, so I don't know. The strips are actually pretty inexpensive though too.
Yeah.
So you just got those on eBay or something like that. It's just an LED light strip, and it sticks on a double-sided tape. It's already pre-taped.
Oh, look at that.
And it's just a wire. Remember that? I put that on there to hold it in. But it's just like a really simple connection.
Oh, it's one of those things. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I probably
so if
can't
you
see
did
it
want to
here.
get a new strip, so all the LED bulbs work, it's really easy to install. Just get this huge long strip, basically cut it to length, and just two connections like that.
Okay.
It's 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, other than that, your porch light's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the stock was. And the earlier ones didn't even have a porch light. I think it was like 2000 or something. They started putting the porch light on. You don't have them before. So. This is where the old refrigerator exhaust came out. So this is actually.
Nothing right now.
Yeah. So I covered it up. It's a hole in the side of the RV.
Okay.
Yeah, and I put some insulation on the back. But this is actually, I found this plate on eBay, and it's for a Cessna airplane. It's
Oh,
an
wow.
access port cover for a Cessna airplane. They had the perfect drilling for 3 holes and the exact size and everything. It was kind of a leap of faith. I found on eBay. I'm like, that looks like it worked perfectly. So I ordered it, and it was like $5, and just put it on. It was that color, and I'm just like, sweet.
You could put a face on it.
And, so that was awesome. Let's see what else. I guess we can start here. So the propane system. So first thing you have is a spare key, which I've never used. So if you do lock the vehicles and the keys in the vehicle, there is a spare key right here to unlock the vehicle. I don't know if this is just the side door or the front doors, but I've never taken it off, so it's always set there.
So this is not for the motor, it's just the...
Right, to unlock the vehicle, yeah. This is an actual gauge for your propane, so it's right at around 3/4 of a tank right now. So that's your real indicator of your propane. So when you pull up to get propane, you want to, of course, pull up on this side to get propane, and they'll probably do it too, but make sure this is turned off. And there's a lot of people say you should travel with this turned off, but most RV people are like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just leave that on all the time. And I put this modification in too. This is an actual, it's a port for a hose for your outside grill. So there's a hose that screws into that, so you drop this down hose, and then you can put your grill somewhere else and you connect it to the grill, so you don't have to use a canister with it. So yeah. So that's a pretty cool little thing, so you can use that.
So that vapor flow nozzle, whatever you would call it, that's the propane that's able to flow through there, right?
Right, so that's basically the on and off knob.
Yeah.
So basically closing off the tank. So if you turn this off, you want to be able to use the stove. Basically the only thing that uses the propane inside is the stove.
Okay.
So that's the only thing you want to be able to do. Oh, and the furnace, sorry, the furnace and the stove. So you just gotta have that on to use that stuff.
So the furnace uses the propane,
Right.
So it's not running off of any the house
It
battery
does.
stuff.
So the fan that blows the air is house battery.
Oh, okay.
And then
So
the
it's
burner
dual.
itself is propane. Yeah.
Dual energy.
Yep.
Okay.
Dual energy. So yeah. I guess while we're here, I can show you how to use this ladder. So the ladder, with age, has become a little bit stiff. So I actually threw some lube on it. Hopefully it's working a bit better. Yeah, it's actually working a lot better. So it fades out that, and then you want to lock those down
Yeah.
so it doesn't move. But yeah, then there's a ladder to get into the rocket box up top. And then you just get up there and push both buttons.
Okay.
Raise it up and go. any access on it. Check that I don't have the key in there, so I have to see if I have that Yakima key.
Okay.
So hopefully,
But
if not,
you never used it.
Yeah, I never used it.
So-
It's too high to get to.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
All right.
Get those up. I don't think it really matters if you go this way first, and then to get it pulled it down. So sometimes you just gotta kind of give it some forcing.
Yeah. I see.
And then so when you're putting it in, just watch these brackets right here. See them?
Yeah.
Jam this stuff and just slide it in.
And the yellow guy here, is that where you hook up the?
This is just where you fill it. So
To fill it?
Yeah. So that's gonna be the
Okay.
the propane store basically. So you can let them take care of that, or you can just take that off when you're ready to fill it up. So.
And you fill it up like when it's at a quarter, or like you wait till it's empty?
I mean, it's just depends on how much you're going to use it. Once it gets to about a quarter, I usually do fill it up, especially if there's an easy spot to fill it.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, even I guess 4 days to use in the furnace, you know, as well as the stove, you know, cooking meals every time, you know, every day is like a quarter of a tank. So,
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, when we travel, we can go for a month and a half on a tank, you know, no problem. So, yeah. And it's only 5 gallons, so it's not really big. It's,
Yeah.
You know, so it's really cheap to fill up.
Cool.
Yeah. What else? I guess that's it in here. This is the freshwater tank right here. Get the keys for that. There's keys I've never used on it before, but this is the diamond-shaped one is the freshwater.
Okay.
So with this, so just open that up and then just drop a hose into it. So basically, you just hose and just crank it up and fill it up. And once the water starts gushing out of it, then the tank's full. So it's not really an in-depth science to it.
Yeah.
It's filled up until it flows out.
Do you have a hose for it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. There's a hose in here. You can just use a regular garden hose.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. All right. I did this. Put these T handles on here. The factory had just a key port in there to lock it.
Yeah.
And so basically, I had to have it locked all the time in order to gain access to the back. This lock core failed after I did this, so I just put some. I didn't worry about it because you can lock this one and it'll be totally fine. So I put these T handles on so you can actually get into it without locking it up, you know, and unlocking it all the time. And the keys on here to lock it right here. First thing is right here. So very important, I guess. So this is your power cord right here. So this is your 30 amp connector
For the house.
Yeah, and this is your adapter to adapt it to a normal house outlet. And you can actually plug an extension cord into this. And what we've usually done is at our house, we have an extension cord coming from the house, and we bring it clear back to the RV, so I don't have to unwind this whole thing to bring it to the house. Bring a cord into it. That way, just plug it right into here, right? And when you're in an RV park and stuff, you'll just unwind it and plug it into an RV park.
What is that just to hold that thing up there?
No, so this is one of the manual things that you actually have to do with the charging system, with the generator and all that. So if you're gonna plug into like your house, basically your generator at that point. So this power outlet is the generator. So the generator, when you have the generator running, it produces power for this, and then this goes into the vehicle, to the RV. So if you don't have this plugged in to here when you're traveling and you want to use the generator, then the generator is not going to do anything for the vehicle since it's not plugged in. So this has to be plugged into something all the time for 120 volts to go into the vehicle.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then, so otherwise it's plugged into the house, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah, so it's either plugged into the house or plugged into the generator port to get the 120 volts, unless you're just using the inverter. If the inverter will do the 120 volts without this connected at all. But to use the generator in the house, this has to be plugged into something.
Oh, that goes into the generator too?
Right, so the
It's right there.
generator's, that's what it's plugged into right up here, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically anytime this is like kind of out and you're not plugged into a house, just plug it into that
Okay.
right there. That's
Got
your generator port.
What's that input button?
That's for cable TV, I guess.
Oh,
There's no
okay, I
TV.
see.
So, yeah.
We're a long ways from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an extra fan belt, so when I replace the fan belt, I just save the old one, just in case. Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a unique one, so yeah. So I don't know if you ever want to use it or not. So.
Is this an outdoor rug?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Right here's from under the vehicle, there's a port right here, so that's where the cord drops through. So, and then it's right here. So that's where you drop the cord down, or you put a cord, like extension cord up through that port to get into the bottom of it.
Okay.
Nice.
So never used it. I mean, there used to be some fluid, and then something like popped the hose off the bottom and drained out. Then I never used it anyway. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, definitely use the wiper. I just put the blade on there because the blade is full. But the wiper just takes everything off anyway. There's never any bugs or anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I don't really think that's a necessary thing. It is functional if you want to put some, fluid into it. These right here are leveling blocks to put under the tires. So if you park somewhere where it's off camber and you want to level the vehicle, these are stackable. You can read about how to do it online and stuff. But you put these basically in front of the tire, and you can stack them up pretty high to ebb and flow the vehicle, to level it out the front or the side or one end or whatever like that. Just to level up so it's easier to sleep and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
they're really handy. So.
Well, you guys are off-road a lot, so
Yeah.
probably use them.
Yeah, but I think that, it sounds like you guys are gonna not be parked on flat RV parking camping sites all the time anyway.
Probably not.
Yeah, so you'll be surprised how off camber areas are.
Yeah.
Just how particular you want to get to. So before we did the new fridge in there, we had to get really particular with how level the vehicle was to make sure the fridge stayed going.
Yeah.
So that was really. Used them a lot more for that. After that, I was like, I didn't use them as much. So. This is all the extra fluids and a little bit of caretaking stuff, fresh water tank, sanitizer, some antifreeze for the vehicle, specific transmission fluids and engine oil, basically. So you can see what I've been using in it right there. Sealant, extra just sealants, basically that I had left over. The wheels. I guess I'll show you the wheels. So the wheels, got the vehicle, I plastic dipped them, but the plastic dip just kind of came off in some spots. These wheels are chrome, and the heat from the brakes made all the chromium flake off on the center. So I wanted to do basically a cheap kind of aesthetic fix, which is plastic dip, but it ended up peeling up a little bit. So you can totally redo that. And there's a little bit of it in there, so you can actually clean that up and just spray them on there, or take it off. It's really easy to peel off.
There's no functional value to that.
No, there's no functional value.
You just want it to look good.
Yeah. It does a little better than what it did. Because these are aluminum wheels that were chromed, and when you chrome aluminum, it tends to flake under heat. And, so it didn't look very good. But the wheels, they were all super nice and chromed. They actually do look pretty well. Pretty awesome. Anyway, so if you're particular about that, there's a little bit of that plastic dip in there. If not, then powder coating or something like that, whatever. Some artistic touch.
Yeah, some sparkles.
Yeah, I was gonna say better.
So here's the little hook right there for the freshwater hose. So you can use that. So that's an actual RV hose that's made for drinking water. So that's a hose that you would connect to the side right here. If you park in an RV park, you always park basically where the water and then the electricity will be on this side usually. So if you did want to park and hook up hot water, pressurized water into the system, basically without using the pump in your tank, you just hook that hose up to the RV park, and then via right here, and then turn the water on there, and then the whole system is pressurized inside the RV based on the water pressure of the park. So you don't have to use your pump in the tank. So that's what that hose would be used for right there, as well as filling the tank.
So you would take that hose and connect it here.
Connect it there to your RV park connection.
Okay,
right.
I see.
Yeah, and that just pressurizes the system instantaneously. Then it doesn't go through the fresh water tank at all.
Okay.
Just leaves that stale basically. Leaves that alone. So yeah. Let me show you the grill. Got this thing. so it's just a small grill, small RV, you know, and then there's the regulator in the drawer in here. Yeah, so it's just a normal, you know, basically canister style regulator for the grill, but that hose right there is the adapter for it, basically to adapt it to the tank right there, to adapt this, and then you can use the grill
for that little upgrade you made, or
yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, works awesome.
So there, into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So just undo this. Keep this closed so it doesn't dust in there. You know, it doesn't get into it.
Yeah.
And so you just connect that. There. And then connect this to here. Boom. And of course your propane needs to be turned on.
Right.
Just a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's off right there. And it's on. So yeah. That's it, and then just put it in the port. Puts it on the side right there.
Okay.
Yeah, it just rests in there. And it doesn't matter whichever way, so just like that. And then it's ready to go. So,
Sweet.
Yeah.
We got the full demo because of the way I looked at there.
Like what? Yeah. And the hose itself, these ends seal off themselves, so the actual propane does stay in the hose, so you don't waste a lot of pressure.
Cool.
By disconnecting and reconnecting, it's just a little puff. But yeah, so that the propane actually stays pressurized. So make sure to do the cap after you do this so you don't get dirt inside these connectors there. If it's keep it in the grill, it gets greasy and stuff. Pretty nasty. So. I'll just do a 3-loop thing and hang this with the hose. This hose goes back here. I'll just leave that fluid thing. Kind of hang that.
So the only use for that other hose is connecting to an external source of water.
That'll fill it.
Filling it up. Okay.
But you don't necessarily have to do that if there's like a garden hose, is that?
You can do it. We also
Yeah.
just use the garden hose.
Okay.
Yeah. So that the reason why they do it's a special one for connecting the RV part. So because if there's water, if the water's like sitting there for a long time and like heat from the sun and stuff, it doesn't leach as many chemicals. But if you're just using the garden hose, it's flowing all the time, so it's not leaching chemicals. You know, from the house. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a light. What, like just like one of the interior lights?
Yeah.
So make sure that's turned off and it's not you know, it's like we've had times where it's been on for a long time, you know, somebody hit it and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And I walk around the RV at night and I see light coming from underneath. I'm like, oh crap. You know, so just make sure just check. I always incessantly check that basically. Before I close this up, I'm always like, alright, it's turned off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just check that out today. Chains. So if you ever need, you can leave these home or take them with you. So for, you know, the vehicle is a front wheel drive. And I'll say that because all the weight is in the rear of the vehicle. It's a front wheel drive. If you get on a steep incline with gravel or snow, it's not like a normal front wheel drive because all the weight's on the back of the vehicle, right? It'll spin out, you know, yeah.
So the chains you would put.
That's for snow and ice basically. So, but that's so just be aware of that if you have a really steep incline of dirt. I mean you'll figure it
Do you
out.
put them on all the tires or?
No, just the front.
Okay.
Yeah, just the driving tires. Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. We've only been in a sticky situation on I-84, I think. We got this big old snow ice storm that came through and we got stuck in it. And then we decided to go on a little bit further. Then like the next morning, we stopped for the night and then went on the next morning. And it turns out that we didn't have any change with this, and we had the old tires that had the snow tires on.
Yeah.
And man, we got going up the interstate, and there's a small hill. And, it started spinning out, and just no traction, just going. Trying to get up the hill, and just end up. I can't remember if we stopped or whatever, but there's a semi. This is before. Okay, so we stopped and I let a lot of air pressure out of the tires, just really dropped it down to get more, contact on the ground. Michelle got out and she was pushing, and we were pushing up the interstate basically.
Holy shit.
And I mean, the cars aren't going fast, but there's hardly anything.
Yeah.
Then the semi truck comes up behind us, and semi trucks, if they stop, they're kind of screwed. But I looked up in the rearview mirror, and Michelle's pushing, and this truck's like coming up behind us like this, right? Because he's trying to go. He's trying to get away from us too, so he's going up the hill like this. He's getting super close to us. I'm just like, just, come on!
My God.
And it was pretty damn close. It was like,
that's scary.
Yeah, it'd have been definitely contact.
Contact. Yeah.
So with the drawers, so these are self-closing hinges. So basically they hold closed. The only time when we've had one fly open is when we had a lot of weight down here. And this one under hard braking.
Yeah.
Fly open.
Yeah.
That's the only time we've ever had one fly open. So they actually work really well. Other RV drawers you have to actually have a latch or pick up or something like that. So yeah. So definitely wanted to have something like that. This is just another little storage spot. Gloves for emptying, your sewage basically. So it's really handy to have gloves on when you're doing it. And I'll show you all the steps on how to do that.
Okay.
So that's just storage down there, a couple extra trash bags and some soap and
Sweet.
stuff like that. So yeah. And
What's this guy right here?
so that has never actually worked. So basically this is actually supposed to, do you hear that clicking?
Yeah.
So that's actually supposed to turn off the batteries, so there's no batteries on it. So that turns off these, right? And it's never worked. So yeah, so that's actually supposed to turn. So basically, what that is for is like it's a fail safe. Like if you want to make sure there's no draw off the batteries, kick that off. That way, there's absolutely no draw, but it never works. So, yeah, never worried about it. It's just one of those things. So, yeah, and then I showed you that yesterday, but a little spice rack, and then built that for like olive oils and wine bottles.
Oh,
and
nice.
That's what we put down there. But
Oh no, this is running out.
pick this up and go like that.
It's no lever or anything. It's
No.
just like,
Yeah,
oh sweet.
just like that.
Nice.
But then then you have this memory foam topper,
Yeah.
that really helps with the comfort. So,
And when you put it back up, it's like how cold. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's easy.
yeah. Like
And I've seen people use the table. It's you open it.
yeah, you can do that. So let me show you. So back here, I'm talking about this platform back here. So I put that in there, but so look how much empty. I mean, there's so much empty space back
Yeah.
here, right? So you can figure out what to do with it. But if you decide to make your bed every day, what we do is like two pillows on one side, and then the blankets and
Oh,
sheets
okay.
on the other side.
I've seen people keep them up
Bedding
there.
up here. But if you do that, so this cool thing is without the microwave, or not the microwave, the VCR, is that you have these bins, and we did these 3 bin systems, so 1, 2, 3. So Michelle always kept her clothes and all that stuff up here. Then I used like the big drawer that I put down here for all my clothes, like in the closet.
Oh yeah, you added there.
So this is what I use for my clothes, and then the closet for all the hanging stuff, right?
Yeah. Is this some for like the heat and stuff? And
Just for the windshield, it's a heat screen for the windshield.
Okay.
So, as you'll find, there's a lot of windows on this, and it's a big space. So.
How'd it work? Did it work okay?
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. So it helps out a lot. And then this is a curtain for the front for sleeping. So many things.
Yeah.
Then this actually connects to the front up here. So you drop down the visors. Then there's the snap system on here.
I see.
Yeah. That.
Cool.
Little Velcro right there. That's the privacy screen, right? Location of it after the cabinet reconfiguration. Yeah, so you just, so you can open up the windows.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that one, so all of them open, swing out like that, so you can actually use it if it's raining or sprinkling outside.
Okay.
You can actually open them up and have ventilation. This is the only one that slides straight up like this because of the door, right? So you kind of have a flip out, so that one for if somebody's sitting here, you can actually have that open while driving if you want, but the other ones you want to have closed because it'll flop and
It
might
fly
break
away.
or something. Yeah, so the table, you flip this up, there's one of those plastic snap latches right here.
Okay.
So simply, there we go. So undo that, then it has two little ports right here for your fingers to grab onto it. Just swing it up and out. And then you have this right here, which undoes the leg. So you swing this up and then kind of swing this out, and then at the same time, this little foot kind of comes off. So you kind of pull this out. So this button is, you can relocate the button. I think it's set in the proper spot right now. So this locks out. Then underneath, well, right here, once you get it down, you're going to want to flip this lever and pull it like that, and then it actually sucks the thing closed. Oop. So once you get this down, then you want to flip those levers.
I see.
Yeah, like that.
Beautiful.
That way. Yeah. So then you have two, they can flip right down. Yeah. So, yeah. It's pretty nice having a table. We didn't use the table as much as we thought we would. So usually it was just sit on the couch and eat off our laps or whatever, just on the couch.
Yeah.
Whatever like that. So one time we used this is when they're driving, we're showing do some computer work. So you have the start and stop switch. The start is, starter basically like a car has. So, once it goes like that, it takes 30 seconds for the power to get to basically that power transfer switch to click, and you'll hear it click in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so once that clicks, basically, then it powers up the RV. And then a lot of times those generators like right on the verge of being underpowered for the AC unit. So you'll hear it on it. So you turn that on and just really pull that generator down. And it has killed it before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then
so
when it kills it, what do you just fire it back up?
Yeah, just start it again. So yeah. And just waiting for the click.
Try to do anything before that click, it's not going to kill it, it's just not going to do anything.
Yeah, there's just nothing. It's not nothing's happening yet. So. Yeah. Is the microwave, maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Oh, it's on. Yeah, it's already on.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
So it clicked already?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just it's kind of inaudible. It's that transfer switch is making a connection. So you can always tell the microwaves it has some lights that turn on. But then so the AC basically there's low fan, high fan, and then low cool. And then I think that
What is that? Oh.
actually that's weird. Should actually have cranked it down a little bit. It's been a long time since I used the AC actually. So it should have actually, the compressor on the top should have kicked in, but didn't kick in. Because it should have pulled the generator down. It's really, it's like a high fan. System, it's a fail safe if there's not a freon in the system. Like put a compressor, it'll burn the compressor up on the AC, so maybe it needs to be repressurized or something like that. So I think it was like $50 off something like that. Just have to connect it, put some more freon into it. That'd be the first indicator.
What is this thing supposed to do that's different from...
This is the temperature control.
Oh.
So what I'm doing is like, I got it on high cool, but the actual air conditioning properties of the air, the AC, the compressor is not turning on. Yeah. So it's only the fan right now.
Oh.
Because basically, if the actual compressor kicked on, my generator just pulls down.
Oh.
Yeah, kind of like with the microwave. There's substantial with that, but like,
Oh, that sound?
Yeah, so it's basically that you can hear that generator getting pulled, the load being put on it. But with the air conditioner, it's even more. It's just like, just really pulls it down. So you'll know. So, remove the generator out of where that port is right there, so it shuts down all the way.
Okay, so
Hold
it's
it
not a click. You gotta hold it.
You actually need to hold it. Yeah, so outlet here, one there, one here.
Cool.
Where was the where was the second one that I missed?
Right behind here.
Okay.
Sorry,
I might
we'll be
lose
able
it.
to find them.
Yeah, and then there's one up by the microwave. By the
Cool.
fridge. Yeah.
Plenty of outlets.
Yeah.
If you plug a power strip into it, is that okay, or
Oh, yeah.
is it okay?
Yep.
Are there like? Oh. Well, there's.
Yeah.
Cup holder.
Cup holder, power source right there.
Cool. What's this guy?
It's just a panel, so padded panel, so if you hit your head or something, I don't know.
Like start smashing your head.
Yeah.
Like, why did I do this? Why did I?
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Use
Oh,
the
no.
portable air compressor for.
Tires.
Tires,
I never did use it, so I bought it and never used it
Mhm.
for just to keep in here. So
Pretty straightforward. Burners.
yeah, burners. There's no ignition on it, so there's a stick lighter in the silverware door. So
Mhm.
just a normal kind of clicker lighter. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
you turn up the knobs and then.
Yeah.
Then you light it.
Yep, I can show you that. Yeah, so usually you pick this up and you gotta find your spot for it. You know, I usually put it up in the front seats or whatever. You know,
Mhm.
the panel comes off, and then just take your lighter and just kind of get it ready, and crank it up. You know, it's propane. It's not a huge amount of BTU output basically. So basically we use it on high a lot. You know, to cook most things. Just, it takes a while to heat the water up and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is running off of the house batteries.
This right here.
Yeah.
This is propane only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
So a totally
electricity.
different connection.
Yep, no electricity at all. That's just propane.
So the propane, we saw it on that side, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So the generator gas source is actually piped right into the fuel tank of the vehicle.
Got it.
Then it has a fail-safe. I think it's like a third of a tank, a quarter of a tank. Once the vehicle becomes a certain level of fuel, it won't supply the generator any more fuel. So you can't run the generator if your fuel tank's getting close to empty.
Yeah.
So if it won't start, first thing, check your fuel level. So in your vehicle, yeah, that's just so it doesn't burn all the fuel out of your vehicle. Then you can't drive your car to go get more gas. So
Yeah.
When I dump a tank, basically before I start, I go inside the vehicle, make sure the water pump's turned on, the door's open on the side, get the soap ready and all that. So when I'm done, I can go inside and touch things very minimally so I can wash up. Because when you're done, you're not going to have a sink or anything like that. It's an outside source, so you have to use your inside.
So you're getting the soap ready in a dish.
Or just the pump, or just whatever, just to make sure everything's kind of ready, so you can just go in and crank water and soap and wash up. Without touching your doorknobs and all that stuff. So gloves on, and open the door here. So you see this is the generator compartment. This is your sewer hose right here. It's another one of these nylon straps. So pull this out. And this, so the stock configuration they have, the hose is only like this long, about, so it's really hard to get to a source to dump it.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be as close when you have this hose right here. So they can actually connect it. Sometimes it's totally normal to have just a touch of remnants or whatever like that just leak out because it's actually kind of sealed. So drop that off, and there's knobs here, so it doesn't matter if you put this on and crank it there or like that. It doesn't really matter. What we do want to do is make sure that it's actually on there. If you get this on like this, and let's just say if you get it on, you barely get it like that, and you start unflowing it, that's where you run into a really big mess. So just make sure that that's on there. Basically,
You'll feel the seal.
Yeah, you'll feel it. It tightens up.
Yeah.
So it's so once you get that on there, then you're gonna put this. There's gonna be basically a hole, with a lid on it. And you make sure you get that in there. Always do your sewage first. So this is your sewage. This is your black tank.
Yeah.
Always crank your sewage out first. Get all that out. Let that go out, and you can either leave this open or shut it. Nope, there's a second.
So that little hook right there is what opens the tank? Or
Yeah. So you just grab this.
pull that.
Yeah, pull it out. I don't want to do it because
Yeah,
there's be something in there.
Yeah.
So you just pull this out, and it pulls out about this far. You'll feel that it'll stop and pull that out, and then it'll start flowing out. It's not going to be a gusher. It won't just be like it'll
Right.
start flowing. You'll feel it. It'll start flowing. It'll fill this up.
Yeah.
Depends on since this is pretty low to the ground. Sometimes you got to kind of
Yeah.
ebb it along a little bit. Just coax it and get that out. You can leave this open or closed at that point. before you open the wastewater. So once, just make sure the sewage is all the way out, and then open the wastewater. And what that does is it washes the outlet port here as well as the hose out quite a bit.
Okay.
The gray water, which is just soapy water. Right. So that washes out your hose pretty well.
So the way you pull up the wastewater, it'll come through the black tank?
No.
Oh no, it's just, where's it coming through?
So they both come into about right.
Oh, I see. It's
here.
just washing out the hose.
Yeah, so it's just
Okay.
washing out the hose. Yeah, they come into this basically junction box.
I see.
So the
Yeah.
black tank and then the gray tank come into the junction box into this unit right here.
How long do you usually let the black tank, empty for?
It only takes like 15 seconds or so.
15 seconds?
Yeah. It's just because it's a big port and it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, I saw, so some guy was he was washing the gray water through the black tank.
How do you do that?
I don't know, maybe it's just like a different configuration.
Oh, it could be a different
Yeah.
configuration. But I mean, he may have been talking about this though, just being able to wash the last the port basically
Yeah.
the last port, washing that out,
Yeah.
So that's why just the hose. I mean, the main thing is getting the bad stuff out of the hose as much as possible.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So the gray water will run through the hose.
Yeah.
So that's also you're emptying the gray tank.
Exactly.
When you're doing that.
Yep.
And that takes also 15 seconds.
Yeah.
or-
So, and you'll hear it. I mean, it'll flow and then it'll stop flowing and
Mhm.
that's it. So yeah.
And then once those are washed out, you do the little toilet thing.
So
Or getting ahead
let's
of
get
myself.
ahead of yourself. So once they're both washed out, shut the valve, make sure
Yeah.
they're shut. Then you pop this off, and generally what you're gonna have is, since this has a higher lip, when I pop this off, I go like that to catch, because it's gonna be built up a little bit like that, just to catch whatever else is coming out. Right? Did you see that? So pop this off and just go like that,
Yeah.
and that just catches the rest of what's there, just because this is a taller connection than that. So it's kind of built up a little bit right there. So catch that, and it's just gonna be mostly gray water. Of course, you're wearing gloves and stuff, so it is still kind of nasty. And then you can just pop the cap back on, and it doesn't. This is the same configuration. You can pop it on there or here. So however you want it on. Just make sure that that's connected right there. So that's that. And then what you want to do is generally your dump stations, you're gonna have a hose. It's non-potable water hose, and you're gonna want to rinse this
Yeah.
hose out. So you crank up the hose and just rinse this thing out, bring up pretty decent.
Watch out for backsplash.
Watch out for backsplash. I mean, you're bound to get something on. And then once you do that, then, just make sure it's all, all the water's kind of out of it. Since I showed you that modification, there's some angles with that configuration to slide this thing back up in there. That pipe port thing I showed you by the generator system, by the electronics in there.
Oh.
That's where this goes right here. So this actually goes in and snakes up and around a little
Oh,
bit.
okay.
Because you replaced it with a longer one?
Right.
Okay.
Because originally this was just like a little short section that went in there.
Oh, good.
But this is one of the modifications that people do to it to make it so you can actually use a really long hose with it. So with that said, what you got to do is when you're putting this in, it might stop a little bit because it's trying to get up around that corner.
Yeah.
So you just need to kind of work it just a touch sometimes. And once it goes, it just goes like that. So just don't get impatient with it. just start cranking on. Just kind of dip, and then once it gets past that, because it's a 90-degree bend that's got to go around. So once it gets going, it'll just shoot right around there. So. And then do that. So then what I do at that point, so you can leave this down right now if you want, because if you want to do the bathroom, the glove thing, right?
Right.
Just make sure that's what's going on right now. So if you have this already open and your toilet open, like that, just saves a little bit of that. So then you take this and just dump about a capful or two into your
Yeah.
there.
A capful or two?
Yeah, 1 to 2 capfuls of whatever stuff, or how much the quantity is of whatever deodorizer that you get, and then just flush it down just like normal, like you just use the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And just flush it down in there, and then as you drive, it'll mix it all up. And yeah. So yeah.
That'll help get rid of the buildup on the sides of the tank.
Yeah, there's some special stuff that what RV shops do if you want to get rid of the buildup is they take a water pressure hose and they just go in there and just really rinse it out. So, but yeah, and then
Fuel tank?
yeah, this is your gas tank, just your normal vehicle
So
gas tank.
that's like when you go to the gas station?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, out of the fridge. You might want to record this.
Yeah, okay.
That's all right.
So the light bulb actually goes right here. There's a switch for it, for the spring and stuff. I disconnected it because when you're storing the vehicle and you're not using the fridge, you need to have the fridge propped open. So it airs itself out so you don't get mold and everything that goes in there. So you don't want to leave the fridge on. If you're going to park the vehicle for a couple weeks and not have anything in the fridge, you might as well turn the fridge off and just let it thaw out and rest, you know. But with that said, you need to have the fridge open in order for it to air out. If you have it open, then this light stayed on all the time. So I pulled the bulb out, so it didn't stay on all the time. So yeah.
Okay.
So, and you can, you know, leaving the fridge open, you can leave it open configuration of just like this, or if it's parked like on a slant like this, you can open this up right here, and then it, you know, that'll keep the fridge from closing also. So when you're parked somewhere where you're just gonna leave the vehicle for a while.
And that's the freezer, that little thing?
Yep. So this is your freezer. Yeah. A little special ice tray in it. Yeah.
So why are you leaving it open to thaw out?
To air it out, you know, like if you're gonna park the vehicle for a couple weeks and not use it, like if you're not gonna have anything in the fridge and you're gonna fridge off, if you don't open this up to air it out, then it's gonna produce mold on the inside. Yeah, it goes right to the middle, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's off right.
Got it.
There.
Off? How do you?
That's just right in the middle. So right there's auto, off, and then manual temperature.
Okay.
So right there's off. Should have pulled that thing out. This is your rod for the awning right here. The awning, it's actually really simple awning. So you have, you know,
Right.
so what you want to do is break it out all the way. First. Wow. So and about right there, once it like that, it becomes slack, then tighten it back up and tighten it back up just a little bit. And you have the arms coming out. See the configuration of this, these levers right here, make sure when you're putting these in, these levers are facing this direction right here, because if this turns around, it'll get jammed in there. So make sure these are out like this. And then when this comes around like that, you need to pivot in any direction, so you can actually set up the awning for, so this lever pops open, and then that allows it to telescope. So you can set this awning up to actually configure it like this. Watch this in wherever. Okay. Like that on both sides. So you want to do that if there's no wind, it's really fine. Then you can actually raise this up, you know, as high as you want, and do this other side.
So if there's more wind, you want to keep it at a lower.
Well, actually, there's some side points on that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't have any wind and you want to have a really high awning, right? And you can ebb and flow the angle of it. If it's raining, you want to have the awning not in a perfectly level stance. So you want to have an angle so the water comes off where you want it to. Yeah, so you have that. So and then there's some stakes in there. If you are in dirt, you can actually stake that down right there. So this actually provides a lot of headroom like this.
Yeah.
A lot of times, bring this down. You pull this up, drop that, this little safety latch like that, and then you bring this up and you usually max that out right there.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, a certain height right there. And that just, you know, that doesn't just attaches it to the RV. Even if it's super windy though, you don't want to have the awning out.
Right. What do you, where do you usually max out with using it?
Well, I'd say 20 mile-an-hour winds or something like that. Yeah.
This is sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Like that. And then after you get it out, I always just double check. You know, make sure that it's taut. You know, so you can slacken it up and just re-taut it. So basically, you know, what you don't want to do is you want to pay attention to coming in from the bottom. So you don't want to like totally loosen it up all the way and then try to re-roll it up going the other direction on the roller. So basically, if it's loose like that. You don't want to continue to go out and out and out, then crank it back up going the other way. So you want to make sure it's always going that direction to tighten it up. As long as you never let it become totally slack, it'll be very self-explanatory on which way you need to go with it. So, yeah. Yeah.
And then...
And it's a little bit taller than this, and since it's on a sidewalk and it's down, it does have a little bit more heavy than what it is. So the door, will catch right here.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what you gotta do is just pick it up and do that, you know.
start there with
Yeah.
the,
Just pull that out to 90 there.
okay.
And swing it all the way out. Should just let it ride. And then just make sure that foot comes up like this. And then
Okay.
hit like that. And that's it.
All right.
And then, yeah.
90 degrees.
Yeah. You can just let that.
That's okay?
Yep.
Start sliding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lift this guy, and this guy comes.
Yeah, you should be able to lift and just pull it kind of up and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring it. That.
Yeah. That's it.
So, lefty loosey?
That's a righty tighty. Nope, the other way. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's self-explanatory. Once you do tensions like that, you always want to have tension.
Yeah.
Go over the wheel.
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. I'm learning.
Yeah, once you get up there, I kind of go around just to make sure it's not, just make sure it's all the way in. And that's it. You know, it's, yeah, it always
So
takes
that'll.
something.
Okay. Then you're good.
Okay.
Comfort zone.
Is it? Okay. Well, if it is, then it, yeah, insurance can cover that.
Yeah.
But there's a spare tire. And
Okay.
then this guy operates that. There's just, sliding this in, and then that will drop the whole system down. That whole spare tire.
I see.
Right?
So because the tires are specialized though, right?
Yeah.
Even if you have insurance.
Well, flat tire or propane, the burning of the propane, you don't never want that exhaust to go into the vehicle. So
Yeah.
basically, that's the intake and exhaust for the actual
Okay.
combustion of the propane for the furnace.
Okay.
Oh, the outdoor shower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right here. So it's the same key as your,
Is that the water?
yep, the water key. So it's like, no, it's kind of nasty a little bit. So yeah, outside shower is just normal operation. Good thing we opened this up, so I wanted to show you something. So basically it's, hot water, cold water, on or off, pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, if this switch gets turned off, that's your whole water system switch. So if your water
Oh, wow.
system's not working,
Check the switch.
make sure that the switch is gonna get turned
Okay.
off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, here too, I imagine it'll take a while before that water gets hot.
It's really close.
Oh, it's closer, so it takes less time.
Yeah, it takes less time.
And you guys said you use this more than anything,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this one is gonna get hotter faster than the inside shower?
That's about the same.
Oh.
The sink. This basically the bathroom sink is closer. This is right on the other side of the bathroom sink. So this is the bathroom sink is like right there. So that's really the hot water tank is like right here. Right?
Yeah.
So it's right there. So it's really close. The distance for the pipe, you only have maybe 3 or 4 feet of plastic hose to go from your hot water tank to here. And the hot water is actually, the water's warm in that pipe, so it's actually really fast on this side. The actual kitchen sink is when it's a little bit slower because it has to go to the rear of the vehicle, across, and then back up to the
Got
sink.
it.
So it takes a little bit longer. So.
Okay.
But usually it's still even with the hot water, we'll usually use the cold water first, get the hair wet and stuff with
Yeah.
the cold water. By the time you do that, the hot water's there, so you can rinse off with hot water. So
What's this guy?
that's a fresh water connection. So when you're at an RV park,
Okay.
So we
that's
did
of
that
your
one before.
External connections.
yeah, next door. Yeah, I guess it's on the video. That
Oh,
goes
okay.
through. So basically, if you're at an RV park, it's this eliminates the use of the fresh water tank. So this actually directly pressurizes the water
Right.
system.
Okay. What is fast?
Yep. So you're a 30 amp system.
Okay. And the 30 doesn't use that adapter, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a 120 adapter.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is only for basically for charging the vehicle. You can use a microwave, with that. So you can use everything except the AC with that. But mainly it was just to keep the vehicle plugged in. Basically, if you park the vehicle for a long time, to maintain the batteries, just if you have a way to plug the vehicle in, just keep it plugged in all the time.
Yeah.
That'll maintain the batteries and make those batteries last a long time.
Right.
That way, when you get in your vehicle to drive it away, everything is charged.
Right.
And you're ready to go. So
Cool.
yeah.
All right.
And oil with that cover on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all that's good to go.
Oh, I didn't get the cover being taken off.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
As long as we have the right tools.
I saw pictures of what I'm looking for. So engine. Not that you'll probably ever need to get down there, but this is the transmission dipstick. It's an aftermarket install basically. So to check the level properly, you have to have the transmission at a certain temperature, you know, for the actual fluid expansion and all that. But it would really you can use it just to check like how clean the oil is, you know, so you can pop it out and you know you can just kind of periodically see. And the oil's super clean, so when it gets dark, you know, basically it's burnt, but it's, you know, it's basically brand new looking, so which is awesome. So that's what you want to see if you ever want to check it. You want to see super fresh oil if it does get burnt. So you should be good for like 50,000 miles probably on that change of that fluid. So yeah, so that engine oil, you know, dipstick of course, engine fuel here, antifreeze, which is good, power steering, washer fluid.
Where's power steering?
Power steering fluid right here.
Why?
And it has a little side indicator gauge on there, so there's power steering fluid and antifreeze and
Where do you see that?
right here these lines. That's
I see.
Just make sure that stays in between there. Cabin air filter, really easy to replace. Just a couple latches, and you can pop that off. Just replaced that not too long ago, so it should be good to go for quite a long time. Just make sure like have the inside air when you're pulling air out from the outside, it's not dusty and stuff on the inside of the vehicle.
Cool.
Yeah, what else? Just normal battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the transmission oil is totally separate from the engine oil.
Correct. Yeah.
And is it a different type of oil?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
It's a very special oil. Yeah. So in the box there's a quart of transmission fluid in there, as well as I think a half a quart or something like that of engine oil. So you can see exactly what I've been putting in there. So mobile one synthetic oil.
Keep going with that. Yeah.
At any rate, make sure you use synthetic oil in the engine. So
Okay.
if you go get the oil change to place, just make sure they put the synthetic in it. No matter what it is. I mean, there are differences in synthetic. Just make sure it is synthetic oil.
Okay.
And the proper weight.
And on the engine oil, how much time do you reckon we have?
Every 5,000 miles.
Okay.
What
So you just put 23 on it, so we got another.
So
27.
and so all the basically on the odometer I go at every 5,000. So basically it's at 77. So at the 80,000, 85,
Okay.
and 90, and 95. You know, so that's where I've kept the oil
Sounds
change
good.
intervals at. So super easy to keep track of.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think what else would there be up here that would interest you? I guess.
Say it again.
Okay, so the actual air filter, to get to that, which I don't know if you'd ever would, you have to take this system off to get to the air filter. And I mentioned the air filter because there's a K&N air filter in there. So if you ever go to an automotive, getting the oil changed, and they suggest replacing that air filter, don't replace it. It's an actual super expensive reusable air filter that lasts for like 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah, I never go with that bullshit suggestion.
Okay, so
They're always trying to get you
but it
to
does a maintenance. So
deal.
basically, it's every 2 or 3 years you're probably gonna want to take it out and there's a little K&N filter kit basically that it's a cleaner and oil.
Okay.
You don't want to clean it off and make sure you just follow the directions, clean it, and re-oil it.
So you got to pull this off to do that.
Yeah. So this is just a couple latches here, and this mechanism comes off, and that comes off, and
Making sure
then you
that
can
my
get to that. So.
Rialta's in good shape.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
And you should be able. YouTube videos. So anything to do with. So the front half is all Eurovan, right? And it's a 2003. So when you're getting parts for it, it's a 2003 Eurovan.
Okay.
It's not a 2004, right?
That's the housing.
That's the Winnebago part.
The Winnebago,
It's a 2004.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because if you go to a parts store and you go, I have a 2004 Eurovan, they're like, that doesn't exist because their database stops at 2003. So since Eurovan stopped being imported in 2003.
Okay.
So it's an 03 Eurovan. That's what this is. That's important. So when you're doing YouTube videos and all that stuff, just make sure you're looking at 2002 to 2003 Eurovan.
Okay.
Yeah. When you're doing that. Cooler, but yeah, there's the transmission oil cooler right here, the conversion. That's in front of the radiator right here. That's the lines come with, yeah, it's really hard to see it, but yeah, so that's the oil cooler conversion with the thermostat and all that's down there. So
That's the modification you did?
yeah, that's what saves the transmission basically. So it makes the transmission last a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like a
Eurovan as well as Winnebago. So basically, what you have is, the Eurovan section is here. It's the headlight switch, of course, cruise control on, on set. The only way to cancel the cruise control is to either hit the brake pedal or turn it off and then back on. There's no cancel switch, if you will. So, yeah, it's kind of.
Here, I'm gonna put it on the side.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's just, off, on, and then resume and set, but there's no cancel.
Mhm.
So to cancel it, you have to either tap the brake pedal or turn it off and then back on.
And there's no increase.
There is. So the increase would be resume,
Oh, okay.
1 mile per hour at a time by
Oh,
clicking,
okay.
or hold it in
Yeah.
and go up. So it's Eurovan. The engines are it's a high RPM engine, so it doesn't have a lot of torque on it. So it cruises just fine on flat ground. It can go 80, whatever, on flat ground. Once you get to hills, it does take away the speed a little bit. It's because it's not made like a semi truck, if you will, right? So just keep that in mind when you're using the cruise control. If you're going through some rolling terrain, it's usually better off just to take it off cruise control and just drive it. Because it'll floor to just put the pedal to the floor and you're trying to go up hills, take it all the way off.
Yeah.
Burn a lot of gas and it'll be hard on the vehicle and all that stuff. So just use the cruise control when it's appropriate and drive the vehicle when it's appropriate also. This is used to be rear windshield defogger on normal Eurovan, has no function.
Okay.
So that's just a holdover that's just there. So this actually does not do anything to the vehicle. Of course, normal AC units and all that stuff just for this section up here. So all these controls are just for the vehicle up here. This is an add-on, so this is called the scan gauge. And so if you read on Rialta forums, a lot of people do this also. They put a scan gauge in. The reason why they do that, there it is. So there's this little reset switch right here. If that thing doesn't kick on, just push this little thing in and out. It's a spring-loaded button. Sometimes it kind of, there you go. Sometimes the connection is a little bit funky there. Then it'll pump up and it can take just a second. So the reason why people put this in is for this transmission fluid temperature.
I don't know. Sorry.
And then really, honestly, after all the conversion on the transmission fluid temperature, it's pretty. You don't really need to keep too much of an eye on it. But it'll stay between 178 and 190 usually, so in that range. But then other additions. There's a lot of, if you read online, basically you'll see a lot of other basically things you can do with this, like going through different things like RPM, or I don't even know what the TPS is. And there's just so many things you can actually have up on the screen. So I just have average miles per hour and miles per gallon. Average miles per gallon, miles per gallon, voltage, and transmission fluid temperature. That's what I usually do on there.
What voltage is that reading?
So it's it kind of depends on what the charge of the batteries are. So this is 13.5. So when you're running it, you'll see it go from basically 14 at a max down to 12.7. Like if the electric fans kick on in the front, it'll pop it down to 12.7. When it's first starting up, there's a, it kind of goes back and forth. Since this is connected to this goes through your computer on the vehicle. This voltage, this will read slightly different than what this does back here, because this is going through the computer system in the vehicle where that's directly connected to the
Okay, so it's the house battery voltage.
Yeah, so this so once you have the vehicle running, all the batteries are connected. So
Right.
theoretically, that's voltage that's going through everything.
Got it.
All the way through the system. So yeah, but as long as it's 13 and above, but there's never an issue. The alternator was replaced 3 years ago or something like that. So that's 148 amp alternator, so it's a really high average alternator in it. So you should really never have any problems with that. So, stereo is just basic. It's just source, FM, CD. I think that it has some exterior CD source of some sort too, but I don't know what that those. Anyway, so it's super easy to figure that out. There's no like auxiliary jack in it, so which is unfortunate. So but it wouldn't be too much if you did want to replace that stereo with an auxiliary jack stereo. It's just a standard deck, you know, that's any car audio store would have, something like that. So if you did want to put $100 or $200 deck in it with an auxiliary port in it or something like that, so you can listen to your iPod or whatever,
Right.
it would be pretty easy to do. So got that. What else? So the check engine light. I don't know if you see the indicator.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Yeah, they should mention that.
So basically, I tried to figure out forever, and then I took it to a shop and paid like $150-200 and had it diagnosed and all that. And they're just like, you know, the best guess is just there's a link error between the instrument cluster and your gear shifter down here.
Yeah.
And there's no way to get rid of that check engine light because of that fault. Most of the time it works. I mean, you know, right now it's like kind of off, but yeah, most of the time it's totally on most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
So, but with that said, I mean, it's just, you know, you got your indicators down here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, the possible fix is to get the instrument cluster removed, and send it off to the East Coast somewhere, and have it certified, fixed, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah. Up here are your Winnebago controls, basically. So this is not Eurovan. This is your Winnebago. So this is so when you have your AC on down here. I'll just turn it on, I guess. So AC's on down there. Then you can use your overhead AC, which operates this AC up here. So you cannot operate this without this being on down here. This again is another, you know, since the cabin's so big, it helps cool off the whole unit. So right there, and then of course you have different, you know, levels of control there. And then turn that off. And this is your fan for your reheater. So the fan will work no matter what, even if you have that flow control for the antifreeze going through the heater, shut all the way off. You can still use the fan, but it's not going to do anything. This is, you know, so if you have that on back there, usually 3 is, I never really use that, but it's that just pushes the air through that coil and keeps the rear vehicle up right there. So that's what that is. This wash thing right here, so this is your rear windshield wiper. Say on. For the back? Yeah. Okay. So that's basically just, you know, on and then off. So rear window heaters never worked in here. I don't even, and it does have it in there, but that's never worked. So I don't know if it needed a new windshield or whatever like that. And then this is your auxiliary start. So so with the vehicle off, this connects that solenoid, so you can hear that solenoid. So basically the batteries are disconnected right now, but if you hold this in, and this does not stay, it's just spring loaded. So if you hold that in, it connects them together. So the reason why you need to do that is if your vehicle battery goes dead, this is your onboard self jumping system. Oh wow. So your vehicle battery goes dead, you can hold that in. And it uses those batteries back there, so you can start your vehicle. And vice versa, if you run your house batteries dead, and you want to get your generator going or something like that, just to charge the batteries or whatever, without starting your vehicle, you can hold this in and use your vehicle battery to go through those batteries and start the generator. Yeah.
But you got to be holding that.
Yeah, so you'd have 2 people. Yeah.
2-man job. Yeah.
It's a 2-man job.
Wait, why is it 2-man job? What was the other thing? Because
this has to be held in as well. Somebody has to go start the generator.
Oh, okay.
So it has to be 2 people in order to reach both of those items. But that's only happened once. That's when we had the old fridge in it and used it on 12 volt, and then that's when we were like, it ran totally dead, and we're like, oh, that sucks. So, yeah. But like I say, you can start the vehicle and run the, you know, once you start it, then it connects with everything, and then you can just use that at that point to start the generator.
Start charging.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Self-contained starting.
Yeah. This cup container right here. So I put this in here. So basically to change the size of this, so you don't kind of mess it up, there's a little lever right there. You pop that little lever out, and you can change the size of it. And then once you get the size, then you just push that down so it locks it in right there.
Oh, that's like those little kid roller skates that go over your shoes.
Yeah, something like that. So as far as the operation of that chair that you're sitting in, so the driver's chair is a lot more cumbersome to turn around because of the steering wheel. So what you need to do to do this chair, you gotta basically this lever right here. So bring this.
You want me to record that?
Yeah, do
Okay.
that, and I'll get up.
So the front levers are the 4 1/2 of the chairs on both sides, and then this one right here is the swing of it. So it kind of depends on where. Yeah, so that'll work. So you just swing it around. It doesn't lock in at all. The only lock position is in the front when it's all the way in the front. So
So it's like a swivel chair now.
yeah. So basically, yeah. So to reiterate, you gotta push the chair all the way forward, so to get the back away from the wall right there. So you gotta make sure this chair is all the way in the forward position. So if it's when you're driving, you might have it back. So make sure you slide it all the way,
Okay.
and then flip that lever and turn it. Yeah. So, and like I say, this one's a little bit more cumbersome. You gotta actually do a front and back a little bit. You gotta flip the seat forward a little bit, back of the seat, I think, and then turn it or something like that, because the steering wheel kind of gets in the way.
Okay.
But yeah, armrest.
Okay.
Armrest. So for different heights, people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Do that. Both sides have armrests.
Are you still recording, Shelf?
Yeah. Should I turn it off?
Turn it off.
On the top, if you can see it. Yeah, it's really hard to see it. On the other side of the solar panels, there's that kind of half curved thing. So that's basically like that thing that's placed over top of the vent, so you can actually have the vent open when it's raining out, so it doesn't leak inside to the vehicle. Right, so there's on the back side is a screen, so that the rain can bead down on that, then it doesn't get inside the vehicle. So you can actually have this vent open right here. So to use the vent, you crank this open. You can crank the button all the way, and all the way just until it hits that cover, basically, and then you can use the the fan at that point, whatever. So and that helps a lot just to circulate the air through if it's a little bit warm. Open up a window on the shade side, basically, and create an airflow.
Okay.
That helps quite a bit. So yeah. And then you can leave it open, and like I say, it doesn't rain inside because it's covered up. And usually, if you don't have that cover, you can't have the vent open when it's raining.
So is that a modification?
Yeah. So yeah, you can do that. And you see that it does cover part of the bathroom. So when you have your bathroom open, for using the bathroom, you can actually use the vent, and it draws air out of the bathroom. Yeah. So it's a small space. You just say that. Yeah.
But don't turn the vent on if you have the toilet bowl open.
I mean, you can. I don't know. It depends on how sealed up the vehicle is. It does, if you have it all sealed up, it does. The fan has a different sound.
Yeah.
It's all sealed, and you turn the fan on. It's a higher pitched sound. And you open the window, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, thanks. And we get some airflow. So.
All right. Any
Friction system.
Yeah.
So they just come down and just stay up. So
Well, that's easy.
yeah. So they're all.
Oh, that's much nicer.
Yeah. She must not have got the vent screening all the way or something. Maybe fix the window up or something.
It's nice how much light gets in here.
Oh yeah, it's a huge amount of light. The carbon monoxide, or is it dioxide? Monoxide detector, carbon dioxide detector.
Monoxide.
And
Dioxide.
yeah, so that's your propane. This is for propane and carbon dioxide, So basically, if you have a propane leak, the propane just falls to the floor. So that's your propane leak and carbon dioxide. Monoxide is basically no oxygen in the air.
Yeah.
Right? So that'll go off. Basically, if you're burning, let's say your stove burns all the oxygen and you don't have the vents open and like that alarm will go off when the oxygen level's too low. And then your smoke detector, of course, is for smoke. So.
What is the dioxide? What do you do if the dioxide alarm goes off?
Leave the vehicle. yeah. I mean, if you hear any chirps or anything like that, you just gotta. Look it up. I mean, that's dead. I've replaced that. I think I replaced definitely that. Replaced by March 2021.
What
I think I
is
replaced that.
that?
That's a speaker. Oh, this right here. So this was this is another modification.
Okay.
It has no purpose now.
Oh, okay.
So basically what that is, this is a propane. I mean, you can turn, it's a sealed valve, so this can be on or off. So right now it's off, but it doesn't matter if it's on either because it's a connection doesn't activate until you plug something into it. But what that was, it was a catalytic heater that I had for it. So because the furnace is really loud, but I had it's called a Wave 3 catalytic converter, and it's probably like this tall and this wide and that thick. And we sold it quite a long time ago because in order to use it, it burns propane, so it's a full propane burning mechanism that doesn't use any electricity, and it's really cool. It's silent. The issue is that since it burns propane, there's no exhaust. The byproduct of propane is that it burns oxygen as well as it produces moisture. That's the outcome of burning propane is water. So it super moisturized inside the RV, right? It made everything so humid in here, and then you actually had to have vents open too, so you had to have your window open to use the heater. And we were just, it was just like one of those things. My grandparents always used one, so that's why I got it, because they had an RV and they always used one. But then I think maybe in this small space it doesn't work very well. So that's why I did that. So it's like a quick connect, basic propane connection for it.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out very well. So it could be used for something else. If there's any other propane accessory that you wanted to get, you can just go to a propane store and have a hose made that would fit that coupler and plug something into it. But I don't know what you do with it. So so it's just there.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, whatever. Look at the space heater. You have to have 3 feet of clearance all the way around it so you don't catch anything on fire. So that's the deal with the space heater. But what we used was an oil-based space heater. So something that doesn't blow air. It's just plug it in and it circulates hot oil basically through it. And so that was a lot more safe. So that's only when you're plugged into electricity though, not nothing you can use for traveling. And, you know, they're kind of big, you know, so you don't want to store it and stuff like that. So we used it for like winter time, parked at the house, plug in the heater to keep the inside of the interior warm enough so it doesn't get so a lot of moisture in here, mold and all that stuff, or freeze the water tanks and all that. So we just plug that in and leave it going all winter. The oil heater in here on low. That said, there's a dehumidifier too, and I left that in here for you guys. So I converted it to a 12-volt system.
Oh, cool.
So but it does use a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to just have this going all the time. So, but when you're plugged in, if you're gonna park this rig, you know, you're gonna want to basically plug that in, and that pulls moisture out of the air, just kind of keep the inside a little bit more dry, you know, so it doesn't become moldy. This will take, you know, in our climate it's like a week to fill the tank up, so you need to empty it about every week, you know, or so, in our climate anyway.
How long do you usually leave it running?
All the time. All the time. I mean, basically when we had a park.
Oh, you were parked.
Yeah, not when you're driving around.
Right,
so you're driving around, it's like you're in and out, and the windows are open, and everything's getting ventilated, but it's like sitting stationary. If you park it for an extended period of time.
Like when you're not using it, you mean?
When you're not using it. Yeah. It's good to have that. And if you don't want to do that, if you're going to park it for quite a while longer, get some of those hang bag style dehumidifiers that are made for like closets and stuff like that. So you can get them at Lowe's or whatever, and just maybe hang 1 or 2 of those up in here so that it'll draw moisture out of the air and put it in a bag and stuff like that. So if you can't take care of it, but highly suggest that. So as you come back, you'll find, you know, you open up your stove and there'll be like mold in the stove, and you know, just everywhere there's moisture, you know, moisture gets trapped everywhere. You're sleeping in here, 2 people, all the windows will be covered in moisture in the morning. Yeah. You know, just the humans produce a lot of moisture, so these things stay pretty moist on the inside. That said, this is a moisture rag, so basically, you know, so when you go to drive, I was wipe the windshield off, because if you don't, it takes a half an hour to dry the windshield off with the heater. So you just wipe off the moisture, and then you can wring this out and dry it out, and that way you can drive a lot sooner and not have to warm the vehicle up so much. Yeah. I think you'll be surprised how much moisture there'll be. So yeah. Those airbags on the rear of the vehicle, basically it's a leaf spring system as well as airbags for overload. Basically different weight variations that you put in there. So you need to have at least 5 psi in there, up to 100 psi max. I usually kept them around 45 to 50 psi based on the weight that we put in there. and that increases the ride quality as it increases the load capacity of the actual vehicle, so it doesn't sag so much in the back. So those to check those and then fill those, there's a port right here on each side. It's basically a normal car tire valve. You see that? Yeah. So you pull that off, and it's a super small air volume capacity.
Okay.
So it's just a normal carport there. The thing is that it's a very low air capacity, so if you're going to use like an air compressor, it's just a touch and off, because if you can overinflate it and blow them up. I've used a bicycle tire pump is what I've used, and it's only 3 to 4 pumps, so it's it's inflated. So that's what I would suggest if you're gonna have bikes. You have a tire pump, and so if you're gonna check your air pressure on that. They don't leak at all.
How often are you checking that?
I usually do it when I do my air pressure in the tires. Just double check them both, because if one happens to start leaking, if the vehicle may ride funny, or like going over bumps kind of weird. If one's at 30 psi and one's at 60, it'll have a different effect on how the rear.
So there's one on either side.
Right, there's one on either side.
And you just want to keep them even, somewhere between 5 and 100.
Right, keep them even. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and you'll see. Basically, if I let the air out, the vehicle will probably drop down to here or so. So it does raise the vehicle up a little bit. Also, at 100 psi, you probably never need to go there. And in the beginning, when I had the RV, we went up to the max just to get the vehicle up a little bit higher. But since I've lifted the vehicle, we kind of had to do that. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So around the 45 to 50 psi.
Okay.
Really good. So. Fridge, we went over that. Driving the vehicle and the tire stance. So basically, the rear of the vehicle is a little wider than the front. So the tires track at a different spot.
Okay.
So when you're on the interstate and you get the trucks make these deep grooves in the interstate, where you have these dual tire grooves sometimes on interstates, this vehicle does not like those at all, because like the front tires want to be in a different spot than the rear tires. So you start getting this fishing where the back tires trying to go somewhere and the front tires are trying to go somewhere. So it's really unnerving. You feel like you're just like kind of on ice skates, right? It's too bad. You just get out and go in the other lane, and get in the fast lane or whatever, because it's I've never heard of anybody crashing one of these because of it, but it feels really funky.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
those grooves.
Yeah. It's just amplified even more of this vehicle just because of the different tire stance. And then also, since the tires are wider in the back when you're taking a corner, a lot of people are used to their normal cars where the tires are the same width, so you have this perception of where the curb is.
Yeah.
Many curves have been hit with the back tires just because it's just take a corner and you have this perception where maybe the tires should be, but they're actually further inbound than what you think they are. So just make sure you give the curb a little bit more space.
Yeah. Take it like wider.
And take it a little bit wider. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I never thought.
Yeah, I wrote down a list of taking out the inverter, basically. So an actual step process.
Yeah, we'll probably